G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be having a look at installing Fedora 29 on VirtualBox, and the reason for that is because the install of Fedora 29 runs default Wayland. I've tried using Control Shift Alt and R to record, but that doesn't include audio, so that would mean I have to put some background music or have no music there at all. That doesn't make any sense. So I thought, and then after I installed Fedora 29, Gnome, and I got to the point of getting Simple Screen Recorder installed, there's not much else to record because it's all been done, so just about. So the only way to illustrate this is best on VirtualBox, which nothing really changes. So the only change is it's VirtualBox, everything else will be the same, and we'll have a look at the installed version on a real hardware after this. So we'll do an install and a things to do after install setup type video as well to follow on, so we'll see how we go. So let's get on with it. So this is set to, oh actually, no, that's wrong. I forgot to put my disk in. Alright, I'll just shut that down. I've already got it installed, but I've got to start from scratch because I recorded the whole thing. I don't know what happened with Simple Screen Recorder. I must have clicked the button down here, and it seems to me if you left click that button, everything tends to go wrong. There's just something not right happening there lately. Storage and guest editions, let's remove that, and we shall put in Fedora Workstation. Okay, and this way you can see me delete the existing partitions and set up some new ones. So the original one that I did was probably just setting up fresh ones, so we get to have a look at deleting some existing ones as well, so that probably comes in handy. This is on UEFI, so that's going to take a little while to boot in VirtualBox. Okay, normally if you're trying out your live disk, you can click Try Fedora, and it tells you you can choose Install to Hard Drive in the Activities Overview at any time later, which is here and here. So you can look around, you can see what's installed, and whatever you want to do. So what we'll do is we'll actually go to Install to Hard Drive, and also you'll want to know that running this in VirtualBox, I've turned off 3D acceleration because otherwise you get nothing in here. You see absolutely, it's just blank. So you need to turn off, it's because of Wayland, I believe. So English and English Australia. Now, installation destination, you can do automatic partitioning selected, but we'll do something else. So click on that. Now, to continue, that must have this tick on it. So if you click that, it says no disk selected. So down the bottom here, please select at least one disk. So we tick that, and I'm going to do a custom, and we're going to go done. Now, as you'll see here, it's set up to do LVM by default, but I don't want to do that. But check this little arrow here, and it'll show us all the existing partitions. Now, if you were installing over a Windows partition, it'll have a whole heap of partitions here. Just click the minus button to delete, and then for some reason it goes back to this view. That should just keep that view open. I don't know why it does that. That's a I don't know if that's a bug, but that's not a very good default behavior, I must say. So click the minus button again. You can click here, delete all file systems which are only used by unknown. Let's just delete anyway. and then check this off again and delete that, and we'll start from scratch. Now, if your disk was had no partitions on it and you made a fresh VirtualBox, this is exactly what it would be looking like. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select standard partition. Unless you're a bit more advanced, you want these ones. I prefer just standard. Hit the plus button to add. Now this mount point is going to be boot EFI, and I'm going to make it 512. Add the mount point. And normally I would give it 4 gigabytes of swap, so we'll do that just out of consistency. So 4096, add mount point, that gives me exactly 4 gigs. And then we got the remaining, so 86,250 that would be. So mount point will, well actually no, I'll give it 40 gigs and leave some data space. That's how I do mine. So I'll do it 40 gig. So 40 multiplied by 1024 is 40,960 megabytes. Add mount point. Now one thing I did notice with this is if you try to add another one and you want to do a data disk, you don't have a choice to just do a partition. So that would be best to be done after you boot into your new install, and then you could mess around with this data disk here. So it's standard, ext4, no problem, and standard EFI system, and swap, standard, 4 gig. Then we click done. It'll fade out a bit, which is normal. And then it'll tell you it's going to destroy and format. It sounds, I'm pretty sure they could have come up with a better word than destroy. But it's going to destroy what was on there, and then it's going to create what you selected. So it's a bit of a harsh word, isn't it, destroy? Accept the changes. It'll darken again. Keyboard is English US, I'm fine with that. That's not correct, so we'll go for Australia Perth. And done. And then we can begin installation. Now it is a bit scaled and it's blown up. You can see a bit better, but it's a little bit uglier blown up like that, but that's fine. It helps you to see what's going on a bit better in the video. Okay, so that's the install complete. We can now quit that. And what I'll do is I'll just power off, just to be sure that the disk is ejected, because I'm pretty sure this disk does not eject when restarting. Rightio, so let's remove that storage disk. And let's boot into the new desktop environment. Okay, so that's the welcome. Location services, automatic problem reporting. Just leave those on. I'm not sure if it matters too much. Full name. And just prefer colon there. Next. Root password. Next. And start using Fedora. So we're in our new desktop there. There's the Gnome getting started. So what we're going to do first is just make sure it connects to my backup disk on the connected to the modem on my network. And certainly does. And Linux all, text notes, Linux text notes, looking for Fedora, things to do, copy that over to documents, paste. Okay, so these are the things we are going to do. Documents, things to do. Let's look for a terminal, add to favorites. What we probably should do is unscale that and see if we can choose display. Yeah, that'll do. That's a bit better. So we'll do it with that display there. Looks okay. It's bearable. Okay, so let's start up a terminal. And the very first thing we're going to be doing here is sudo dnf. Well, actually, no, what we're going to do is choose the fastest mirrors. So we need to append these two lines to this one here, etc dnf. Let's go sudo nano. I don't know if nano's installed here actually. etc dnf.conf. So they don't have nano installed. So sudo dnf install nano. Yes for that. Okay, let's clear that screen and let's try that again. Okay, so let's take that down there. This probably should be up on top of the list, to be honest, but it doesn't really matter too much. And Control O to save, press enter. Wrote 7 lines and Control X to exit. Okay, so I'm going to just restart that just to make sure that they're getting picked up correctly. That's just adding a couple of lines there to search for the fastest mirrors. So where's my bigger screen? It's gone back to that again. What about 1400 by 1050? 1920 by 1200, what's that look like? No, that's no good, so we'll go to same one. 1400 by 900 will do. Keep changes. Because there was a scroll bar down here, so we definitely don't want to be scrolling on the desktop when we're doing things. Okay, so besides that being the first thing that we do, so we'll cut that. All right, we'll bring that up there. Okay, let's save that. So what we're going to do now is a sudo dnf update. And there's 1.2 gigs of updates, so let's go yes to that. And I'm going to pause while we're doing this. And there we have it, the updates are complete. So we can probably exit that and we will restart the computer, or the VirtualBox anyway at least. just to make sure we get a fresh, clean start on that update. Okay. Alright, so we'll have a quick look, see if we can quickly install guest additions. Not sure how that's going to go. So we have something's failed there, the mod probe vbox sf. So it looks like it didn't work. No, still not installed. I don't know if we can quickly do sudo dnf install build essential. Module assistant dkms. I don't know if that works on all distros or not sure. Certainly worth a try. Okay. I don't know why it's so hard just to get these guest additions in all the time. Don't know why it's so hard, why we have to jump through hoops to get this going all the time. I don't know. Different for every distro. Alright, so back to this. Now we want to add RPM Fusion. Now this was one I found. I think one of these worked on the free and one of them didn't work. This one or this one. But the alternative, they both work. So there's no issues there. Had an error on the other ones. So I'm using the alternative ones, which I know is working. No problem. Enter that. And the alternative for the non-free as well, free and non-free. Let's go yes there. And paste that one as well. Yes for that. And as you can see, both of those completed without issue. So the alternative ones are the better ones. So if we go to here, we're going to look at Fedi and we're going to download Fedi, this one here, save file, that's complete. So we go to downloads, RPM file, double click that. Maybe we'll try open the software center first. It hasn't been opened yet. Let's go shopping. Maybe that'll help. Enable third-party software repositories, enable that. So maybe that might work now. Let's try that. That was it already on there. Alright, so it looks like it took a little while to populate, so we'll try again. And there we go. So just be patient with the software center. It just took a little while to populate everything. First start, of course. So it's best to do that before you try and install Fedi with the RPM. And probably the enabling the third party was probably part of it. So now we have and also while we're on the software center, I'm just going to do a search for tweaks. Gnome tweaks, we'll install that quickly. Okay, so tweaks is installed. I'm going to go to window title bars and maximize and minimize here. Now you can see maximize and minimize. I like to have that. Let's close the browser for now. And now we have Fedi installed. Now this is an alternative multimedia without Fedi. I was just doing some sort of trial and error there with an error that I had, but that doesn't really matter, because if we go to Fedi and open up Fedi, you'll see that we have some options here in utilities to install Multimedia Codecs. And also, I think there was another one here, development tools, is it? No, it probably wasn't that. Utilities, you got the Multimedia Codecs. Oh, and the encrypted DVD playback. There it is there, right under my nose. All right, so you got that there and the codecs as well. And you've got some of these tweaks here and some themes, which I installed. What I installed? Papyrus icon theme, which I like. I think that's all I installed. Got some development stuff there, which we just went through. And some apps as well. So this one eventually drops down. I don't know what's happened, but on real hardware it was started off like that, then it ended up normal size like these. So I don't know what the deal is with that at the moment. So you've got Brave Browser. This one's I'm not quite sure what that is, to be honest. Dropbox for Nautilus, Google Chrome, Handbrake, Hangouts. So I've installed Zoom and also Telegram, and you've got a lot of stuff here. So we go, if you have a quick look there, I'll pause, then we'll bring that down there. You can pause. And final one. Okay, so that's Fedi. Fedi can really get you up and running with all the things that you need. I've done a few of those things in real hardware, and I've got it up and running. So I will use it for Big Daddy Linux tomorrow. See how I go with that. I'm pretty sure that was it. We didn't need to look at any more. I'm pretty sure. You've got some extras here. I'm not on a laptop, so I don't need that. I don't want Steam installed. VLC maybe, and there was and then you got the name extensions. So they're the most important things to do after installing Fedora, and then that should be enough to sort of get you up and running. So that is the install of Fedora 29, Gnome Desktop, and some things to do after install. And we'll end it there, and I'll go into my real hardware and we'll have a look around on that. So one thing I did notice, if we have a look in Fedi, can't seem to find a simple screen recorder, which is one thing I noticed when I was messing around with a lot of earlier things. I didn't actually look through here, simple note and utilities. So if we go to software and do a search for simple screen recorder, as you'll see, I'm pressing enter, nothing is found. So it seems to me like simple screen recorder is nowhere to be found in there. So what we need to do is dnf sudo dnf install simple screen recorder. I'll tell you what, I've done the search for the fastest mirrors, but it doesn't seem to be working too well. Those downloads are very, very slow. So what have we got there? Installing simple screen recorder and dependencies. Okay, and let's go yes on that. So it's found that 31 kilobytes per second. Now I don't know where that's pulling from, but I did add the fastest mirrors. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you need to update that in any way. It didn't say. Now we're up to 1 megabyte per second, so that's really odd. Now it's hitting some good speeds. And yes to that. We'll install that. Now, as you can see, it's installing simple screen recorder with no issues through DNF, but it's not in the software center. So that's a little bit like Ubuntu when you search the software center and you can't find something, but you will find it in Synaptic. So it's pretty much seemed to be this a very similar scenario, whereas you've got all these packages, but they're not all they don't all connect to the software center. So, but when you install it and you do a search in software center, it'll find it now because it's actually installed. Unless it makes a liar out of me. I didn't find it. It probably wants to do a restart. It probably will. So let's just have a quick look. We should be able to find simple screen recorder. There it is there. Should be running no problem. There it is. So it's working. So that's how you install simple screen recorder. So here we are on the desktop of my real hardware, and we will have a look at in the terminal of what the system is running here. So we'll have a quick look at that. Okay, so I've had a couple of crashes there. I don't know what that was all about. So we'll check out LSPCI in the terminal and have a look at what I'm running here, which is a VGA AMD Cape Verde Radeon 7750 8740. Don't know too much about AMD, so I'm not really sure about that, but you can have a look at that info there just to see if anyone's interested in what it's running. So it's Monday. I had Big Daddy Linux live yesterday. I used the Gnome Fedora 29 on real hardware, this computer here, and all went well. Run my Zoom. As you can see, Zoom is there. Got my Telegram installed, and Big Daddy Linux Live went well, running on Fedora 29. But I've had a couple of crashes just then with the GNOME shell, and I couldn't open the terminal, so I don't know why that was. But I did a restart. Came up here and allowed me to restart, and there's still another one there, but I did a restart and allowed things to work. This terminal just would not open on the first time. Had to log out and log back in. So yep, that's pretty much it in here. I've got the as you can see, the papyrus icons there, and I've got the this theme here, Telencron, with the buttons right, and also the minimize and maximize under the window title bars on there. And that's pretty much what I've done, and I installed those. Let's have a look. I installed the icons under tweaks, I think it was. No, sorry, tweaks, themes. So the papyrus icon's there, so you can see the remove button, so that's definitely installed. And the other one I downloaded from Gnome Look. And utilities, I've installed Multimedia Codecs, otherwise the videos that I've recorded might have had some issues, so I just thought I'd stick that in. You can do the encrypted DVD playback, the lib DVD CSS2 if you need it. And the apps, of course, I think I showed on VirtualBox, was Telegram and Zoom. When it comes to Zoom, just be very patient there. It takes quite a while to install, but it does install. It just takes a while. And I believe I don't have much else installed here. So like I said on a Big Daddy Linux Live, Fedora 29 installed okay, had a couple of inconsistencies with the speed of DNF in the terminal. Otherwise it's run pretty well. I haven't had many issues except for now with the crashing, and the crashing only started when I logged out and went from Wayland to xorg. So otherwise everything was running okay. So I was on Big Daddy Linux Live under Wayland, so that's probably why I had no issues. And probably if I'm not screen recording, I would probably log back into the Wayland desktop, because there's a lot less issues under the Wayland desktop by the looks of it. Overall experience with Fedora 29, not too bad. Like I said, I've hardly had any issues at all. Would I run it full time? Probably not. I like my Debian and Ubuntu based distros. I'm very familiar with them. I've worked out how to get some of the things up and running in Fedora. I'm no means an expert on this, but I did do things to do after installing, which I believe is enough to sort of get the average person going that's sort of been in Linux for a little while and has a little bit of an idea and is not scared to go with the terminal and stuff like that. So, but it's been a good experience anyway to dive into Fedora a little bit more and get to know it just that little bit better. So that's Fedora 29, VirtualBox install and things to do after install. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it informative and interesting, and thank you for watching.